Thank you for listening today on Revealing Wholeness, sponsored by Infinity Whole Health. Check out our website at infinityWholeHealth.com, where we are revealing the eternal in each individual, the infinite in the individual. The creativity is made manifest. Limitation is let go. Now, here's your host, Dr. Troy Munson.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Troy. This is the month of May of 2024, and this is Women's Health Month. We are talking about fertility issues, pregnancy issues, hormone dysregulation, all kinds of things. And so we are starting off this particular month with week 1, and it is menstrual difficulties and hormone dysregulation. Now, for most women out there, they tend to kind of deal with it, and nobody can really explain or tell them why their cycle every month is a wreck. Why am I getting cramps? Why am I emotionally, up and down? What do I do about it? How do I help not have really heavy cycles? Why are mine not going at all? There's many reasons why we tend to get dysregulated as men and women both. But women, I'm going to go through what things that you should be looking at or looking for in your environment that may be lending towards your hormone dysregulation. So if you would like a cycle that comes on and you're kind of wondering, hey, I think it's any day now, you're just happy-go-lucky, normal self, and all of a sudden your period starts. And it's not very heavy, and within a very short period of time, within 24 to 36 hours, it's not very heavy at all. It's pretty light. It's just kind of tapering off, and at day 5, it's gone. If you would like to have something like that, we can definitely help you. But let's find out why it may not be like that. So the first and foremost is going to be stress. And of course, we all would say, well, duh, stress causes everything. And it definitely does, but let's understand just a little bit of why. When you are under stress, your body thinks that you are being chased by a lion because of what your brain is doing and what it continually thinks about and the reactions that your brain has to your thoughts. Now, that spiking of cortisol because of the stress you're experiencing in your mind definitely happens at the expense of your sex hormones that should be keeping you regulated. Now, most women have lots of stress, or rather they cause themselves lots of stress. Men too, we're not off the hook, by the way. But as we get a handle on your head, so to speak, and we begin to let things go a little bit and decide to relax and not stress out about things, that can be a huge boon for other areas of your life. But stress and not dysregulating yourself is number one. Now with that stress, if we're thinking about things a lot, we're often not going to be sleeping well, which makes it worse. So let's begin to help you handle stress. I have many podcasts on stress and how to deal with it and how to let go. In fact, last month, April, was that month for stress. So do review those things. Next, xenohormones. If you've never heard about xenohormones, those are all the plastics in your environment. The phone in your pocket, the computers that you work on, the plastics on the pictures, the canvases around our home, the carpets, the laminate floorings. I mean, the list just goes on. The paint on our walls, the plastics in our car, that new car smell. All these plastics and oils that they have plasticized and made into products that cover just about everything around us, these plastics emit a xenohormone or estrogen type hormone. Now, there is no compound called estrogen, by the way. Estrogen is a type of compounds. So in the woman's body, you have 3 types of estrogens. But because these xenohormones are these plastics that are in everything, they tend to mimic those estrogen-like compounds. And when they do that, they tend to dysregulate your hormones. Because in a woman's body, you have 2 main players. You have estrogen and you have progesterone. Testosterone plays a very limited, distant third party. But these two compounds must be in balance with each other. When I say balance, that does not mean equality. We should have 25 to 30 times the progesterone that we have of estrogen. Normally speaking, there are times when estrogen gets quite close to progesterone at the time of ovulation. But for the most part, you should have more progesterone than you have estrogen, and by a long shot. So when you're looking at values on a blood test, you're going to see them actually listed as different values per deciliter. And so be aware of that, because sometimes you'll see like 150 estrogen and you'll see 25 progesterone. Well, that doesn't sound like it's the right ratio. You're correct if they were using equal measures, but they're not. So the difference would be like if I'm using gallons and you're using teaspoons. Well, I have to have 300 teaspoons. Well, I have 3 gallons. I win. I have way more than you. And so as we look, that's kind of how the measurements are for progesterone and estrogen on a blood test. So do be aware of that. They're not equal. Next, medications. This is one of my favorite. I love when a woman comes in and says, my doctor put me on birth control to regulate my cycle. It actually is like nails on a chalkboard to me, because to stop you from cycling altogether is not regulation. That is the epitome of dysregulation, my friend. So the pill is not regulating you. It is completely finishing the process of dysregulation. And it is not healthy for a woman's body to do that very long. Now, when we're pregnant, we obviously don't have a cycle. And so that is quote unquote normal, but other things are happening that are quite apart from normal, so to speak. So a birth control pill is not ideal, and it sets up parameters within the body that are not pleasant. And high estrogen unopposed to progesterone is not a good thing. They are now making birth control pills with a little bit of progesterone and a little bit of estrogen to complete that dysregulation without being so harsh to a woman's body, but it still doesn't make it any better. So I'll have you consider something else instead of doing the birth control pill. Now, if you're doing it because your cycles are miserable, then let's only have that plan for a short period of time, and let's begin to change your diet and your stress levels and your environment to produce less xenohormones so that your body can actually re-regulate itself. And one of my most favorite ways is, especially with young women, is to start them on a process of chiropractic care. What better way to regulate your body and do it marvelously and magnificently than making sure your brain is in control of your glands like your pituitary and your thyroid, your adrenals and your ovaries, so that we can expect as normal a cycle as possible because your nervous system is controlling things like it should. That would be awesome. And then we can decide if that did some good or none at all, and then begin to go after dietary concerns as well as go after the chemicals that may be around you in your environment. Next, sugar. Sugar dysregulates just about everything, in my opinion. But just to give you an example, I'll have gals come in that have hot flashes, and I will get their hot flashes under control within a very short period of time, sometimes just a couple of days. But what they will find, and what I tell them, is I will say, now that we have your hot flashes under control, and you've done without sugar and carbs for a while, I want you to go hog wild and eat some sugar, and tell me how you feel. And they will come back and they'll be like, man, I was hoping you were wrong. But the moment that I ate sugar, I instantly had a hot flash. And I'll say, welcome to the world. And they know that now sugar and carbs will give them hot flashes and dysregulate their hormonal cycle in their menopause scenario. But it doesn't help it any at all if you're cycling and you're 18 years old or 16 years old or 35 years old. You should be getting off sugar, and here's why. The moment that you spike blood sugar, your body crashes it with insulin because it doesn't like all that sugar in the blood vessels because it's damaging to it. It's sensitive. So insulin crashes blood sugar. Well, it doesn't do it gently. And when it crashes, your body now sees your low blood sugar as a stressful situation. And that stressful situation requires cortisol to be produced. And if your body is going to produce cortisol, it is going to do it at the expense of progesterone. And so now your primary feel-good, run your cycle correctly hormone, progesterone, is being short-circuited and you're making cortisol. And so now you're going to have dysregulation no matter what age you are and no matter what sex you are. So men, if they have low T, they need to get off sugar as well. Or they will start growing a big belly and man boobs and feel like not doing anything. So for you women out there that are like, my husband's not going to stop eating carbs. I'm going to have to cook 2 different separate meals. You'll want to point him to my podcast that talks about low T and how to do it naturally. Because I'm going to tell him the mechanisms of why cortisol is very bad for the male body to be producing. Because it's going to short circuit testosterone. So if he wants to feel like a man again and have an erection again and actually be able to do something and feel good and build muscle even when he's older, he's going to want to manage blood sugar a hell of a lot better than he's doing now. That's just being honest. Now, body deficiencies will do a lot. Women with polycystic ovarian disease, or you're just producing a cyst one at a time, you are in need of zinc and real copper, not garbage copper. What is garbage copper? Copper from our copper pipes that we get water from is metallic copper. We do not need metallic copper in the human body. We need organic copper that is fixed by microbes in the soil that pull the copper up and put it in a plant, and then an animal eats the plant, and we eat the animal, or we eat the plant. That is how we get good usable copper. And good usable copper is found in anything that has vitamin C, food-wise, that is. Not the grocery store vitamin C in a pill that's just ascorbic acid, by the way. That is not vitamin C. That is ascorbic acid. That is a preservative. And it is not the full complex of the vitamin C complex, which is more than 500 things. And copper being the center of the vitamin C complex, thus also called tyrosinase. There's some factoids for you. So this copper that you need comes from plants, and mostly green ones. And so please do a lot more eating of vegetables that are green. That would be wonderful. So that's where you're going to get good copper. Now, where do you get zinc? You will get it from some seafood. You'll get it from liver. You'll get it from a couple of different vegetables. If you look online and say, hey, what foods are highest in copper and zinc? You will get a beautiful list. Please do not run out and just get a zinc supplement. If you want to do something like that, you can order online through me if you wish. Go to my website. It'll point you into how, or call my office, and it will ship directly to you. So if you would like some information on that, I'm happy to help you in that. But deficiencies are amazingly rampant in our particular society with our high degree of processed, refined, canned, boxed, fast food. We don't eat food, we eat garbage. We eat stuff that is devoid of everything. It's just focused on taste and not on nutrient value. If you want to have a normal cycle, you're going to have to give up your old ideas of taste and start looking for foods that actually have some sort of value. Now, are most of the foods that I eat bland and disgusting and awful? No. I enjoy the food I eat, and it happens to be quite whole nutrients. I enjoy an array of vegetables and meat and chicken. I do enjoy some whole grains on occasion, but it's not normal for me. I do eat organ meats because they are nutrient dense. I do eat eggs. I eat lots of fish. I eat lots of dairy products that are raw and not pasteurized, because pasteurization destroys milk and all the substances found therein. I want alive food, not dead food. I do not eat a lot of canned, boxed, processed food. Yes, I do on occasion. I do. I love ice cream. I do love certain cereals. I know it sounds crazy, but I eat enough good things that once in a while I can enjoy something. What's once in a while? About once a month. Is it okay for me? Yes, I close my eyes. I have a great time eating those things once in a while. But for the vast majority of the time, you're going to find me eating something that is of high value. And if we want to fix any kind of issue we're having in the body, you'll be wanting to do the same. Unless you would like to cover it up with a drug, and then you don't have to feel it at all, and you can watch your body disintegrate in record time without feeling very good. But at least you won't feel much at all soon. So I hope that was helpful in terms of hormone dysregulation and menstrual difficulties. I'm not really going to discuss too much of menstrual issues and how to find those issues and fix them. I've done other podcasts on that. You're welcome to listen to them. This is just kind of an overview on why do we get dysregulated and what are some things that we could end up doing that would be quite helpful. So if you have questions, comments, oftentimes in only 15, 16 minutes, which was what this podcast was, we kind of open a big can of worms and now there's all kinds of questions. And that's just the nature of things. Because each person is different, I don't want to be exhaustive in what I'm talking about because most of us don't need to know all that. We need some basics, and now I need a little bit of help with my specific issue. And so if that's you, then let's have a conversation. Go ahead and pick up the phone and call my office. We would love to hear from you and help you with your particular issues and help you understand of how to fix them and have them not come back, because that would be really nice too. Until next time, I'm Dr. Troy, and remember, there is way more right with you than there is wrong with you.
Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach Dr. Munson at 360-893-8586 or email him at chiroman@dr.com. That's chiroman@dr.com. Check out our current workshop schedule on Facebook at Infinity Whole Health.
The information on Dr. Troy Munson's podcast is meant to educate the listener and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease.